Is Utopia against human nature? Xiefeng. June 13, 2024. Anyone who has never lived in a true utopian program has no right to comment on Utopia, just as someone who has never tasted jackfruit does not know its flavor. Therefore, I advise those who have not experienced utopian life not to judge Utopia based on hearsay. Many people label Utopia with the hat of planned economy and authoritarian regime, which is a defamation and a 180-degree misinterpretation of Utopia. In the utopian program, there is no such thing as a planned or market economy, nor is there an authoritarian regime. It's a pipe dream to think one can gain power over others within the utopian program. Churchill's supposed statement that, if a man does not pursue utopia before he is 30, he has no heart, if he still believes in utopia after he is 30, he has no brain, is often cited. However, the truth may be the opposite. The reality is, if a person does not believe in utopia before the age of 30, it is because they lack brains. If they do not pursue utopia after the age of 30, it is because they lack conscience. Before the age of 30, people are full of energy and have a long future ahead, so they believe that they can conquer fate and that their life can be completely controlled and arranged according to their own will. They live out their character, carve out their own niche, achieve success, wealth, and fame, and earn the admiration of others. Therefore, they do not believe in utopia and are unwilling to submerge their individuality and abilities in the utopian process. After turning 30, one gradually begins to taste failure and realizes that society does not evolve and change according to one's will. It's not just others, even those closest to oneself won't act in accordance with one's expectations. The trajectory of one's life is something one simply cannot control. Gradually, one comes to understand that individual capabilities are limited. Even if one has achieved great success, in the end, one may find oneself to be selfish. The desire for the happiness of the masses is a personal wish, and at this point, one may find that utopia is a good choice. The conclusion is, if one does not believe in utopia before the age of 30, it is because they lack brains. If they do not pursue utopia after the age of 30, it is because they lack conscience. The most notorious critic of utopia is Hayek, who predicted in The Road to Serfdom that utopia can never be realized, planned economies trample on private property, ignore basic human nature, and will only lead to scarcity, chaos, and enslavement, ultimately self-destructing. This assertion is nonsense. Planned economies have nothing to do with utopia, and to say that utopia can never be realized is to ignore the facts. Not to mention that Lifechanyuan's second home has existed for 16 years, even the utopia created by Owen in the United States lasted for 4 years. How can one claim it was not realized? How many years must it exist to be considered realized? Hayek lived for over 90 years, does that count as having existed in this world? If a person only lives for 4 years, do they count as having existed in this world? How many years must one live to be considered as having existed to claim that utopia ignores basic human nature is patently false? Without even considering the complexity and diversity of human nature, isn't the desire for the opposite sex a fundamental human trait? Every physically and mentally healthy person desires sexual interaction with the opposite sex and wishes to interact with more members of the opposite sex. Isn't this basic human nature? In the utopian program, there is no marriage, no fixed sexual partners, and people can interact with each other as they encounter, as fate allows, naturally, and randomly. Doesn't this align with human nature? The world and order that Hayek wants to maintain is the one that ignores basic human nature, where a 20-year-old widow is forced to remain chaste for life because of her husband's death and is honored with a chastity arch for not interacting with the opposite sex again. Does that conform to basic human nature? Does a lifetime commitment between a man and a woman conform to basic human nature? Is that what everyone truly wants in their hearts? To spend a lifetime just looking at and holding each other? Without any improper thoughts? Isn't this the true nature of humanity? Therefore, anyone who says that utopia ignores or is against human nature, you are the one who is actually ignoring human nature, being ugly and hypocritical with false morals. Because you are lying, what you say and what you think are completely different. You erect a facade of chastity with your words, but your heart is full of deceit and immorality. It is undeniable that among humanity, 1 in 10,000 are geniuses who can steer their own lives and destinies. For them, utopia may not be appealing. Yet, for the vast majority who cannot control their own lives, living within a utopian program would be an immense blessing, indicative of good karma from a past life.